One of them is called DooWop, The Moves. That's the title. It's the 1950s, long before your grandparents were born, many of you. And there was a rec room craze, recreation room. Everybody, I was living in Detroit. I spent my first 10 years in Mississippi, second 10 years in Detroit, working class family. My father worked at the General Motors plant in Detroit, Chevrolet division, and on the assembly line. And when the rec room craze hit, it hit right after television hit. Television hit in the early 50s, and around that time, everybody had to have a recreation room. But sometimes a recreation room would be a folding card table that was next to the coal heater, you know, that kind of thing, the coal furnace down in the basement. Sometimes it would really be very nice because, you know, people that had a little bit more money would get Sears and Roebuck to come out and really put in a real rec room. But the same thing happened in all those rec rooms when those parents went up those basement steps upstairs and left those pubescent kids by themselves. They put on this music, which didn't have a name back then. It later came to be called DooWop, and was characterized, you know, by these weird bass figures, vocalized bass figures like boop 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 beep boom. You are, be do, boom, 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 or ooh, baby, baby, that kind of thing. But there was a groove that people moved to that was very different than the grooves you get now. And this is, again, is culture explaining us, defining a society. I look at younger people now, and quite often when they're dancing, they don't touch each other. They stand they dance around each other, and each person is doing his or her own thing. Whereas as budding adolescents, we used to wait for those slow numbers, you know, to come up, because that meant you could move in. You know? And it was just the opposite of dancing around people. So this poem is about that, but this poem is like all poems. All poems are about a lot of things at once, and that's what's wonderful about poetry. You can appear to be talking about one thing, you can be talking about 2, 3, 4 things at once. So lots of issues come up in this. This is in Detroit, mid-50s. Detroit, remember, is across the river from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. You go across the Ambassador Bridge. DooWop, The Moves. Let's make no bones about it, whatever this means or ever meant to you. Darling, you know your way through what I'm about to say. DooWop still steals the moment, the sizzling thrill of closeness, the slowness of our touch, too much, too messy to process. Back when dawn rose off the river, we'd feel it. Feel felt like enough when flowering was new and not easy to handle. Neither was breathing. All that light funneling in from Canada, ferried over the river while you put a move on my heart. Heart and soul, flesh and bone, DooWop was known to sabotage. All across the land, white citizens' councils shouted and warned, Negro music is corrupting white youth. Boycott Negro music. If you think I'm making that up, I've got the posters in my archive somewhere. Boycott Negro music. We were young too. You pressed your hand behind my neck. You kissed my mouth. Wham! So who'd kissed whom? You still wonder? In one slow move, you slithered and drizzled snail trails all up and down eroded maps of me. DooWop, stone slow of step, sticks to you, lasts. The DooWop mind cries, oh baby, you know I love you, always thinking of you. I place no one above you, and you know I'll never snub you. Under DooWop's spell, you make no bones. You shake your perfume booty, you go for keeps.